What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another SandStorm Meetup. Today, I am joined by Bennett from Unstoppable Domains. How are you doing today, Bennett?
Hey, I'm good, Sharp. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you coming on the show today. Usually like to start off with a little bit of an introduction. Tell everyone a little bit about yourself and how you got into the Web3 space and what role you play on the Unstoppable team.
Yeah, sure. So, man, I got into the space about 2 years ago, something like that, I would say, and started getting really serious about it in the first part of last year, I guess, and just kind of dove in head first. What really started to catch my interest most was NFTs, and then once that creativity or curiosity sparked, I started, it was a combination of both like looking for information as well as being fed information, because Google starts to figure out what you're searching for and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I got pretty heavy into a number of NFT communities throughout last spring and summer, and along the way found Unstoppable, which kind of clicked another light bulb for me about the power of digital identity and the implications of that for the future. So here at Unstoppable, my role is on the business development team, which essentially means that I manage conversations and relationships with all sorts of different dApps to see whether it makes sense for them to integrate our APIs, our solutions, etc.
Nice. And did you join the Unstoppable team, I guess, like through meeting someone through being in the NFT space, or have you been there since the beginning?
Yeah, I joined last October, so it's been a little bit over a year. And the way that I joined, I actually just, once I noticed the company and saw what we were building, or they were building back then before I was part of the we,
Yeah.
it just got some ideas rolling in my head. And so what I did was I actually started just like cold messaging some of the executives on LinkedIn. And one of the founders got back to me, which I thought was pretty cool, that he would just respond to some guy who was throwing out random ideas. And we ended up getting on a Zoom call, and I shared some of the thoughts I had just based on, a lot of NFT stuff is related to identity. People kind of associate themselves with their PFP or whatever. And there's like a social aspect of it all. I kind of think of NFTs as like almost the social layer of crypto or Web3 or whatever. I feel it's a bit more social than just coins or whatever. So I thought, man, why shouldn't you be able to link this image that you represent yourself with, from your PFP with like a digital name part of your identity? So isn't there a way to like kind of merge the domain name with the image and all this? And that was one of the things we talked about on the initial call. And he basically said, we're like about to implement that very thing. So
Yeah.
kind of cool that you thought of it, and like, what are you doing now? And we started having the conversation about that, ultimately led to me joining the company. So it was a pretty cool way to get kind of welcomed into the business.
Awesome. Yeah. It's always good to just be able to reach out randomly on LinkedIn and get a reply back.
Yeah, exactly. And you never know what, this is why I just like relentlessly network in the space, because you never know what it might lead to. I didn't do that with the goal of trying to get a job. In fact, I was working for myself at the time, and I wouldn't have really dreamed of going to look for employment, because I really enjoyed, working for myself. But once I saw the opportunity of what I think this company is building, I couldn't pass it up.
Yeah. Now let's talk about, I guess the service you guys provide. I mean, you can get a dot crypto, dot NFT, dot X. There's a lot of different domains that you can have. I guess what is the difference between all these different domains?
Yeah, so we refer to them as our TLDs, our top level domains, or you might just say extensions. But yeah, you're right. There's .wallet, .dao, .nft, .x, a number of different options. And really the difference is just preference and sort of brand kind of stuff. So you can imagine where if somebody has a DAO, well, they might want .dao, right? It just makes sense. If it's something more payment oriented, maybe .wallet makes sense for them. They all function the same though.
Nice. And if someone has say if I have sharp.crypto, is someone able to go out and get sharp.nft as well?
Yeah. Yes. So you could have sharp.crypto, somebody else could have sharp.nft.
Okay. All right. And you guys have almost 3 million total domains registered. 553 integrations. I think that was the most impressive thing to me, is how many different integrations you guys have.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about some of the more popular ones that I saw, I guess were Trust Wallet, MoonPay, and the Brave browser.
Yeah, I mean, all great examples, and how we're integrated into all of those is slightly different. Of course, for something like a wallet, it comes down to resolution for payment, and what that essentially means, and is really our kind of original use case, and what most people know us for, is when you're sending payment from your wallet to another one, whether it be you just want to send it to a different wallet that you control, like a cold wallet or something, or you're paying a friend or business partner or something like that. The way to enter their wallet address is usually cut and paste, right? It's
Yeah.
because nobody is able to say, hey, just send it to 0x2591LJ6B8372. No one does that, right?
Yeah.
So you have to say, let me email you my wallet address or text it to you or hit you up on Telegram or whatever. But we feel there's a real added benefit to being able to say, just send it to sharp.wallet or whatever your name might be. And so for something like Trust Wallet and a number of other wallets, Rainbow Wallet, a bunch of others, you're able to just type in that name, and then because they've integrated our API, it knows where to send it. And that's true for every different chain that user has connected their domain to. So you can have a single domain that points to your Bitcoin wallet, your Ethereum wallet, just one per chain, one wallet per chain, but still all your different wallets, if you are kind of operating the space in that way, like a multi-chain sort of way, and you have some Bitcoin, you have some Ethereum, maybe you're on Avalanche doing something, whatever it might be. For Brave, it's a bit different. And for anybody in the audience or who's listening to this who doesn't know Brave, Brave is a browser, and they're very Web3 friendly. So a lot of really great features when it comes to like privacy, and they have their own native token and stuff like that. And they are one of the browsers that natively resolves our domains for web hosting. So if you typed in, one of our domain names in Chrome, then it's not going to go anywhere unless you have the Unstoppable plugin. But on Brave, it's native. So you could type in, for example, I know you guys have had Deadheads on the show. They're one of my favorite NFT projects. You can type in deadheads.nft in Brave, and it will go to their decentralized website. Which,
Oh, wow.
that's another cool thing to me. It's an exact replica of their deadheads.io site on DNS, like on a traditional domain. The really cool difference is it's a decentralized site. And what that means is the owner of the domain as an NFT has full control over it. There's no central authority who can take down the site. Even we can't take their site down, can't revoke access, nothing like that. And it's also owned forever. So unlike a .com or a .io or something, you got to renew it. There are central authorities who can censor or change or take down your site. That doesn't happen when it comes to a decentralized website.
Interesting. Yeah. My next question, I was literally just about to ask, why would people, I guess, use a .crypto or .nft over a .com? But exactly like what you said, like it's decentralized and people can't take it down.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's really, in service to that sort of Web3 ethos that users should be in control of their own data, their own, things that they're building that they own, et cetera, in the digital space.
Yeah. Yeah. I especially see it a lot with different social medias right now, especially like Facebook, and just how much of your information is being sold to other people, and, the different, I guess, centralized entity that is on these old Web 2 platforms. And you can definitely see some stuff coming out that would make people want to move more towards the decentralized websites.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're starting to see some of that stuff happen with like decentralized social things now, because there's obviously like a lot of controversy around people either seem to love or hate the whole Elon Twitter thing.
Yeah.
And for those who are not happy with it, they're going, okay, where am I going to go? Is there another app? And of course, everyone in the Web3 space is saying, well, maybe there's a decentralized app, and maybe Farcaster or Orbis or Bunches or one of these, Web3 social apps is going to make waves. And I think that's another cool application of domains. Is the reason why we call it your identity, not just your website or your payment address or whatever, is it really represents you in so many other ways than just your payment address or
Mm-hmm.
your website. It's you, it's digital you. Because like in the Web 2 world, if you want to contact me on Instagram versus Twitter versus email, it's different. It's a different name, different convention, different way of getting in touch with me. But in Web3, your domain is you everywhere you go. So it's like you take your identity with you instead of having to reinvent it on every app. And so, in some of these apps that are out there being built or others that are already live, people are logging in with their domain, and then that becomes who they are. So if you, again, are going to pay them, chat with them, play a game with them, whatever it might be within a given app, it's the same name everywhere you go.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I am only able to get certain versions of Sharp on different things. So my name is different on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. It's different all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And the ability to be able to have the same name across every platform, even like your gamer tag, like,
Mm-hmm.
you're playing games on Xbox, for it to be the exact same name, like, oh, add me here. And it's the exact same thing. I think that'll definitely be huge in the future. Do you think current social medias, such as like Instagram and Twitter, who are kind of integrating NFT stuff, do you think that they'll move to more of like a Web3 profile type thing, or do you think someone new will come in?
It's a really good question. I wish I could predict the future. I like to think they will. If history is any teacher, it also seems to me that new entrants have pretty good track record at displacing the legacy, giants like Netflix replacing Blockbuster, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But there are also plenty of cases where someone like IBM, for example, has reinvented themselves hundreds of times and remained dominant in a lot of ways. They may not be the cool, exciting company, cool, new, exciting company, whatever, but they definitely don't let themselves get complacent. And so some of these companies like Instagram, Twitter, et cetera, might do that too. I fear if they don't, they will get left behind. I say fear, doesn't really matter to me at the end of the day, but for their sake, I think it'd be smart for them to experiment with this stuff and they are, like you said, slowly adding some features. I would personally love to see where your username is your domain on all these places too.
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree. And we talked about integrations and the different ones that you guys have. Are there any integrations that you guys are working on right now, or that you would like to see happen?
Yeah, I mean, we're always working on more integrations. It's interesting. We launched the login integration just in January of this year only. And I don't remember exact numbers off the top of my head, but I want to say the first month, we probably only had like 1 or 2 integrations. Now we're hitting like over 20 a week. And so that's the main thing that the business development team is focused on, is adding these integrations, login being the fastest growing one.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're also in the midst of some really big integrations too that we're very excited about. Unfortunately, I can't drop names until it's public knowledge. But we are working on some really big stuff that we're very excited about and looking forward to announcing as soon as we can.
That's good to hear. Good to hear.
Yeah.
A little random question. Everyone loves the short domains, like the 3-letter, the 4-letter.
Mm-hmm.
What is the shortest name domain that you can have? Can you do 2 letters, or is it just 3 letters?
No, we don't do 2 letters yet. That may be something we do in the future, maybe even 1 letter at some point. But right now, 3 is the shortest.
Nice. And when you're registering these names, does everyone pay the same fee, or is it based on, I guess, like how popular that name is?
Yeah, it's based on how popular the name is and how short it is, and it's also cheaper if there's a number in it.
Okay.
And some extensions are more expensive than others. Like .x is our most expensive. And when people ask like, why is .x more expensive? The answer is really, it's kind of like the, I guess, sort of like the luxury option, if you will. The letter X has been used in branding in practically every industry to sort of denote the like extreme or the cooler version or the like advanced version of something or the more luxurious version of something and what have you. And to anybody who says like, well, I don't care, then my answer is, well, then don't get that one. If it doesn't matter to you, then that's great. Get yourself a .nft or whatever you want to do. But yeah, so they are priced slightly differently based on extension too.
Yeah. And actually, I went and looked at the name Sharp on there, and it said that I think it was like locked up.
Oh, really?
Like it was being held. Now, do you guys hold
protected.
Certain names for certain companies?
Yes, we do. So we protect major company names, celebrity names, trademark names, stuff like that. There are cases where we release it either to that company, ideally, if it's something that's obvious like Google or whatever.
Yeah.
Something like Sharp, I can't speak to it officially like on the spot, but my guess is like there's the technology company Sharp. It makes like TVs and stuff, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But you might be able to make a case for, hey, sure, they have that, but Sharp means lots of things. It's not like Google or Facebook or something where there's really only one name for it. Yeah, I'm not sure, but that would be why it's protected. Probably is that it's a a trademark name of a major company.
Yeah, and I mean it's interesting you guys do that because I guess you don't want someone coming in and being early and buying a whole bunch of celebrities' names and then a whole bunch of company names and just sitting on them pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it comes down to. And this is still like such an early industry. There's a lot of things that aren't known, and so in the future, let's say we did just keep it open like that. Anybody who wanted could have bought like Amazon.nft or something like that.
Yeah.
And in the future, as this industry evolves, is there a case where Amazon comes after us for that and comes after the buyer? And, that's a lose-lose for us and that buyer. And if it doesn't go that way, then maybe they could have made some quick money on it and they would be excited about that, which I understand. But we really want to be, a major tech company known around the world. And so we need to, just be smart about IP type of stuff and trademark names. And our lawyers are very good and very cautious. So
no, it's definitely good to have that. And
now I will say there are a lot of people who buy domains sort of speculatively, and maybe they can't go buy like google.x or something, but they buy words that do have popularity or future implications of popularity. Like before sandbox, the metaverse existed, if somebody thought sandbox, it's just a cool word, maybe I'll grab that one. That might have benefited them, right? Or even if it's like DeFi gaming.x or something, these aren't trademark names, but they still could be very valuable in the future. And we don't necessarily encourage people to buy domains speculatively, but people do it. I mean, it just makes sense that people are going to. But at the end of the day, what we want is people getting domains so they use them. We want them to be able to use them as their digital identity and kind of build a reputation for themselves in Web3.
Yeah, and I mean, I like that. I like that because you hear it a lot with metaverses that come on here and I talk to, and they say like they don't want people just buying their land and holding it and not building anything on it.
Exactly.
They want people that are going to use the land and build stuff on it.
Yeah, and speaking of metaverses, and I know that's obviously a huge part of what you guys do and everything. Something I'd love to see happen is for domains to act as coordinates for your metaverse plot. Because we can all like share the coordinates, the location of our plot, and for friends to visit there and see what we're building or whatever. But again, kind of like a wallet address, you have to sort of just cut and paste, share that location with them. And if you could say, hey, you can visit my spot in Sandbox by going to Bennett.nft or something. I think that'd be pretty cool. I'd love to see that happen.
That would be cool. I mean, you guys need to work on an integration for that.
Yeah. I mean, we do have relationships with these companies, so I can't speak publicly about like what's being discussed there, and it's not my relationship with any of them, so to be perfectly honest, don't even know exactly what all we're discussing with these metaverses. But to me, that's just an obvious one that would be really cool if we end up doing together.
Yeah. Dizzy in the chat said, question, do you see a world where Unstoppable will act as a name server and serve websites on the blockchain, maybe files stored on a Filecoin or store, etc.?
Yeah, something like that could happen. Right now, for people who do deploy websites on using our domains, the way they do that is they upload their HTML files to IPFS, and then they link that IPFS hash to their domain. And that can be done on a back end just by logging into our website, go to your account, go to your domain. And you can either upload the files there directly, or if you've already done it on like, I don't know, Pinata Cloud or something like that, and you just get the hash, then you link that hash and it goes from there. So we're not currently integrated with like storage or Filecoin, but I could see in the future something like that happening.
Nice. And something that is interesting about Unstoppable Domains is you don't have to pay a subscription fee, essentially. Right. Like you don't have to keep re-upping how many years your domain. You have it for life, right?
Yep, that's right.
Awesome. Yeah, because I know like ENS, especially if you get like a 3-letter domain, they'll be like, yeah, it's gonna be 3 ETH for 1 year. I'm like, what?
Yep. Yeah. We feel the ownership aspect of all this is really important,
Yeah. Game Dizzy said, oh no, Unstoppable is not yearly. It's it's forever, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, you purchase the domain, or maybe you got one in a giveaway or something like that, and then you go and mint it, and it's yours for good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, do you guys have Web3 profiles? I think I was looking at your guys' website, and kind of like when you get your domain and on your, I guess, application, it's kind of like your Web3 profile, right?
Yeah, our profiles are fairly simple right now, but and I think your like operator, engineer person, whatever on the stream here had a screenshot of it up earlier. Um, we do plan to keep building that out, but essentially anyone can go to ud.me/ the domain name,
Mm-hmm.
and then it'll show things there like their domain name, their like nickname if they have one that's different than the domain name, if they want to put a personal website up on there, if they want to link to their IPFS site. Here it is. Yeah, badges they've earned, their different wallet addresses, their social accounts that they've linked to it, and we're experimenting with what all else this profile can be. But we think it's going to be a good place for people to just kind of show off all the different things they're involved in, and how all you can connect with them through a single page.
So can you see somebody's, like, if you go to this profile, can you see if they've linked their Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that?
Yeah. You could go to ud.me/sandy.nft, and that's our SVP of business development. This is her page that you're seeing on the screen right now. But if you went to ud.me/sandy.nft, you would see the live version of what she's got going on there.
Awesome. It kind of reminds me of like, have you ever seen The Office, Ryan, when he started Wolf?
I forget that exact storyline, but
yeah, he started like a social media. It's like all social medias in one, and he called it the Wolf app.
Okay, yeah. There's no like feed or anything like that on there, but that could be something in the future. I mean, the possibilities are really all out there. We're kind of in experimentation mode with the profiles right now.
Yeah. Yep. Now, going back to the dot cryptos, the dot NFTs, with dot Ethereum, you primarily can only send Ethereum. With dot Sol, you can only send Solana back and forth. What all can you send to someone's dot crypto?
Yeah, in fairness, I think .eth can send a lot more than that now. I believe they were originally just things on the Ethereum chain, but I think they do have more. But I'm pretty sure you're right about like .sol is just Solana based. For ours, it's basically everything. You essentially just go to the website, you log into your account, and then you click on crypto, and you can enter all of your different wallet addresses there. And so it links to all of them.
So someone can send me, if I give them my dot crypto address, they can send me Bitcoin, or they can send me Ethereum to that address.
Yep, as long as they're sending it from a wallet that has integrated our resolution already.
Yeah.
Then yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nice. I mean, I think that right there is going to be huge for just mass adoption. The cross chain aspect of not having to have 16 different wallets.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, you still are going to have to manage the wallets, I guess, but at least you'll be able to have just like a single address, or like a name for your address, like a domain, which I believe will be really helpful. I'm a big believer in the fact that in the future, once Web3 goes mainstream, I think we all believe it will, right? That's why we're here.
Yeah.
No one's going to care what chain they're on, to a degree. Maybe they'll enjoy some features of being on an app that is on a certain chain, and those features will work so well because they're on that chain, and the person's like enjoying that, but they won't even know that's why. Like, I don't think the average internet user cares or even understands like an IP address, or how like packets are sent, or these different things. The average person doesn't know, nor do they care. They just want to have a good experience online.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I think it's going to be the same with blockchain. So we're excited and proud to be, one of the most significant naming conventions with all of that, to just make it more user friendly.
And Dizzy asked in chat again. He said, "How does Unstoppable Login work? You will need a MetaMask still installed, correct?"
Yeah, you still need a wallet. MetaMask being probably the most popular among those, but it can be other ones. And so when you go to a site that has our login integrated, you click the Wallet Connect button or login button, or whatever that website is showing. And then usually it lists several options. I don't think there's any yet where Unstoppable is like the only login choice. We're hoping that will be something that happens in the future. But for now, there's usually several options. And when you log in with your domain, though, it will just have a field where you type in your domain name, and then it will connect to our off-chain database where the user actually has complete control over what data is shared. And I can talk more about that in a second. And then it will still ask you to sign an approval on your wallet too. The same kind that you would have approved to just connect your wallet the normal way.
Yeah.
And then in terms of the data, the user's data that's then shared with that dApp from our off-chain database, when they logged in with a domain, it's things like their name, location, social media accounts, a proxy email address. But all of these things are completely under control of the user. So if they don't want to share that stuff, they don't have to. They can turn it off anytime. The proxy email address has 2 different levels of privacy that a person can choose from. The like private but somewhat less private option is the email address is basically let's see, it's their domain name at ud.me. And that will redirect to whatever email address they're having it redirect to. So someone could email them there, but they'll never actually know their true email address. It's just it's just a proxy.
Yeah.
And what that allows for is someone can go into their account on our back end, and if there's like an email account that's been contacting them that they don't want to anymore, they can blacklist it right there, and the proxy email address won't work for that sender anymore. The second option that's another layer of privacy is to serve each dApp a different dApp specific proxy email address, so that they can then turn it off based on the dApp. So if it's like, I'm tired of hearing from Sandstorm, hopefully that won't happen, but let's say if you guys were to integrate our login and you were emailing people using the proxy email addresses that you get from just calling them from our integration, and someone said, hey, no, I just don't want to get emails from here anymore, they can just toggle it off for your dApp, and the other ones that they're connected to will still be able to contact them.
Oh, it's really cool. I think people spend a lot of time growing email lists of people to email, and like, if you can just go to a place where you can email everyone in Web3, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, anybody who's logging in with their domain at least. So, again, our goal is that becomes the default way people choose to log in, because you don't want to have to always be checking Telegram and Discord and stuff for like announcements. Sometimes you do want to be able to just get an email in your inbox, or maybe one day a text message or something like that. But yet you don't want to relinquish control, right? You want to be able to turn that off if you choose. And I don't know about you, but I've unsubscribed from email lists before, and they still send me stuff.
Oh, no, same. I would literally go to the bottom of the email, hit unsubscribe, and I'll be like, congratulations, you're unsubscribed. And then they still email me.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I like to say that our feature, like the way our proxy emails work, is it's like unsubscribing from another email service, except for it works.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, as far as unstoppable domains, I feel like we've talked about just about everything. If you, do you feel like there's anything that we haven't really talked about?
I guess I would just say, our goals and plans for the future of adding more blockchain interoperability. So like when we first released our login, it only worked for Ethereum and Polygon dApps. Now it works on Solana dApps too. We plan for it to work everywhere. So we really want to be, everywhere across all chains in the Web3 environment, and we want to be the single sign-on for Web3. So we've even had some pretty interesting conversations with like companies you would never think are necessarily operating in Web3. Like we had a call with like a furniture and home goods company, and they're like, okay, so if we were like a Web3, if our website was Web3 enabled, and someone connected their domain or like logged in with their domain, we could see some information about them and the things they're doing, maybe like in the future where other more normal transactions, not just buying and selling NFTs and stuff, are being verified in the blockchain.
Yeah.
They could create like a personalized shopping experience for people. Like, hey, we saw that you just bought a home with a DeFi loan or something like that, and so we're going to give you a better discount for furniture than we would for just some random person, or something like that. So all kinds of companies are already thinking about these things, and to me, that's one of the most exciting parts about being on this team. Is it's a constant reminder that we're not crazy.
Yeah.
It's not just a bunch of us degens like trading NFTs and stuff. There really is significant value here for the world of technology and commerce and internet, social, all the different stuff. So
what do you think will spark the need for digital identities?
yeah, that's a really big question, and a really good question. I think it's going to be really like a confluence of things. I think it's going to have to be like several things like intersecting with each other. So one is I would say most people who know that their personal data is being harvested and monetized with, I was going to say without their approval. Technically, we do all approve it. We all accept the terms of service and stuff as if we had a choice, right? What can you just like not use your phone and not use social media? I mean, for most people, that's not realistic.
Yeah.
But most people who know that their data is being harvested and used that way aren't very happy about it. And most people who don't realize that, if you explain it to them, then they're not happy about it. And so I think when you get to a point where people understand that there's another way, there's another option for how you can navigate the internet without having to give up all your personal data and your private information, and you can actually have control, that's going to be a light bulb moment for people. And then I think, honestly, it's just going to be like stuff where we don't have to think much about it. It's not about how cool the technology is or something. It's just like, for example, when the first blockchain games come out that are just awesome, like just really fun to play, mega hits, AAA, like awesome video games that people just want to play because they're great. We could care less that there's NFTs in it. But they'll slowly kind of see like, oh, this game is different. Like I was just playing the game because it's cool, but you're saying that this like weapon that I bought, I actually own it and I could sell it to someone else. And I don't even need to do it through this website. I don't need anyone's permission. Maybe I can even take it into another game. And it's going to be a lot of like a cascading aha moments, sort of is the way I think about it. But it's going to have to start with like Web3 enabled social apps that are just great, whether they're Web3 or not. They're just a great user experience and something about them that's special, aside from just it's special because it's Web3. I think that's a bit of a stretch. Those of us in the space care about that, but we're really all excited for when things are going to come out that are just genuinely good because they're good.
Yeah.
So like social apps, gaming, streaming, media related stuff. Not to mention all the things that already exist around just tooling and DeFi and whatever else. But those mainstream things, like the average person cares about, that's just enjoyable to watch, enjoyable to play, enjoyable to connect with my friends through these things. And hey, bonus that I get to own my data and have a new way of interacting online that wasn't possible before. So I guess I'd summarize that by saying it's kind of be like Trojan horse,
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. I think, especially I keep hearing that GTA 6 is going to integrate crypto and NFTs. And I think, like you say, if a game does that, it's not like going to be people getting on caring about what blockchain they're on or what wallet they're using. Like they're just going to be playing the game and they're going to be like, wait, hold on, I own this Lamborghini in the game?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I hadn't actually heard that, but that's pretty cool. And I think for a game as popular as that, if they're required to download something, they don't even need to call it a wallet. They could call it something else,
Yeah.
Download this like portable account. You can use it other places too. Oh, okay, cool. And then, yeah, like you said, that aha moment will happen. Wait, I own this car. So yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully they add NFTs to the game. I keep hearing that. I don't know if it's 100% confirmed, but that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be.
At the beginning of the show, you had said that you originally started out as an NFT degen.
Yeah,
so I do have to ask you, how do you feel about the current NFT market?
It's a good question. I guess I'm just I've always felt that anyone who like tries to make predictions on where things are going is either wrong or they're lucky. Like, I don't think anyone actually knows, except for I do believe there's a fair amount of like people with major influence who do move markets, and they can probably make predictions that come true because they like make them come true and they're backdoor things and stuff. I won't get too much into my like conspiracy hat on the around that stuff. I do think there's some of that. I don't know how bad it necessarily is, but I do think there's some of it. And other than that, I'm honestly just, I believe that these exist for a reason. I believe there is something cool about NFTs. I think that over the last year and a half or so, some of them got really out of control, and it was like rampant speculation that ran amok. And now we're seeing it slide back because it went too far too fast. So I don't know where that's going to rebound. I do believe that it will, but I guess I really try not to make any predictions. I will say this. I think it's really important to look at who's running a project, what they've done before, the way they present themselves, their communication skills. And then in some cases, since so many NFT projects are really people who, before you got into that project, you'd never heard of them, where there are cases where it is coming from an existing entity and they're like doing a good job representing themselves in Web3.
Yeah.
I feel like they have a better shot than 99% of other NFT projects. You've got a couple outliers like Bored Apes and stuff who I think it was a combination of timing and hype and community and all the things, some of which was a result of them running the project well, and part of it was just luck. So there are like, I mean, before Bored Ape Yacht Club, nobody probably had heard of the people who founded it, and now they're famous. But I guess what I'm saying is I think there are projects where the people behind it are, you don't have to like, man, they're gonna be big. It's like, no, they are already big. Like an example would be Superfest, which this is, you know, an NFT that represents like special access to a music festival. And I think there's a lot of things out there who have said that, but in this case, it's the people behind Bonnaroo and Outside Lands.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you know, we don't have to speculate on like these guys are going to be the next Bonnaroo. Like, no, they are already Bonnaroo. This is just another festival they're doing, and they decided to come into Web3 with it. And you know, I'm not going to say that's like a sure thing or something like that, but it's it just makes a lot more sense than I'm going to bet on this person because they get a lot of attention on Twitter, and I believe that maybe one day there'll be something really cool.
Yeah.
so I, you know, I think it pays to look at that stuff. Everything else, you know, whether it's something really big or like an underdog project. I don't know about you, but I've been surprised way more times than I've accurately predicted something, where something just catches on one day. And it goes wild, you know, and like floor price goes up and no one's quite sure why, other than it's like a meme going viral, you know.
Yeah, it could be more of that backdoor stuff you were talking about.
Yeah, I think there's some of that too, but I feel like I have noticed somewhere it really it just kind of catches on. I mean, I think there's a lot of people who just like watch and wait, you know, and they don't want to be the first one to move, but they don't want to miss out either. So there's like a FOMO combined with a cautiousness. And the same way that people like undercut each other when they're afraid of it going down, I think if, you know, a project, whatever project it could be, starts getting extra attention, that snowballs, you know? So how you play that is kind of up to you.
Yep. What would you say is your favorite, I guess, community to be a part of right now?
My favorite is still Deadheads.
Deadheads?
Yeah, for sure. You know, they were my first big project that I got into. I think it's really neat what they've done with their animated series. They, you know, they were the first one to release like a fully produced animated series. I noticed last summer a lot of projects said they were going to do things like that, and now there are quite a few who have, but a lot of them never did. And Deadhead said, hey, you know, we may not be able to like release something perfect immediately, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna release it. And then they did. And then they're also just great people and really smart, like engineers and, communicators and everything else. And I get to talk to them a lot. So I know the things they're working on and I just have confidence in them, and I just enjoy the community of people too.
Yeah.
So yeah. Plus I love like Halloween stuff and like skeletons and that sort of thing. So, kind of have like a soft spot for that kind of artwork too.
No, yeah, I mean, I can't remember how long ago I talked to them, but yeah, they seemed really, really smart, and they had their stuff together, and they were working on some cool stuff. So
Yep. And they still are. It's so hard to like get the attention, right? There's so many different things to look at, so much stuff happening in the space. But that's probably my favorite thing about the space, is that I know for a fact there are a lot of projects who many people have never even heard of, but they're doing really cool stuff. And they could have their spot in the sunshine one day, and I think that would be really neat to watch happen, whether it's Deadheads or any of these others I know that are. I'm kind of like an underdog maxi, if I'm being honest. I want to see some of these projects and founders who haven't quite had their their big break yet. I really want to see them achieve that, because I just think they deserve it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's gonna pretty much do it for the show. I appreciate you coming on, Bennett.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, thank you. I was really glad to learn more about Unstoppable Domains, and I might have to reach out to somebody to see if I can get the Sharp name unlocked. Sharp Electronics, so they don't need it.
Yeah, maybe they don't. I'd like to see you have it too. What a lot of people are doing when they either, like, if their name is short, so like shorter domains are more expensive and stuff like that. And as I mentioned, when there's a number in a domain, that significantly reduces the cost. So this is where a lot of people, including myself, just throw a 0x in front of it, and that becomes there. So like, that's my name on Twitter. It's like, it's what I use pretty much everywhere I go, is 0xben.nft. So that's an option too, if you can't get there with the actual just Sharp thing on its own.
Yeah, I never thought about doing that, but I'll have to definitely check it out.
It's kind of like an homage to the retiring of the 0x at the beginning of your Ethereum name. Like, I don't have to use that name anymore because I have it, or that address anymore because I have a domain now. But I'm still going to kind of wink at the original name with the 0x at the beginning.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I appreciate everyone in the chat watching today. Make sure you guys check out Unstoppable twitter.com/unstoppableweb. Go to the website unstoppabledomains.com, pick up your name. And yeah, I'm excited to see what more you guys do in the future.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, Sharp.
Thank you.
All right.